Well, what has it been like? I mean, you got a taste of it in the spring, summer. What's it like to be back on the field now?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, anytime you can get on the field after a couple months, I mean, it kind of spring ball is kind of like a little taste of it, where you get to, get the pads on, you kind of get to see your team and stuff. But it's not the full team because I mean, obviously you got freshmen coming in, you have JUCO guys transfers, so kind of, your first day of fall practice, you really get to see all the guys that you've seen over summer working out and stuff. But it's always different when you see guys in pads. Like when you see a guy in pads, everybody looks different. I mean, it's nice to get out there and kind of see what everybody has.
Marcus was talking about just off-season workouts and everything. There was the photo of a Langlo that would just blew up a little bit of just his just looking massive.
Oh, absolutely.
Have there been any other guys that have been seeming really yoked up, I guess, after the summer?
I mean, honestly, there's a lot of guys that come to mind. Tall has had a really good fall. Avery looks really good. Stutz looks really good. Jeremiah's always one to me that kind of pops off when you look at him. D. Wade's like that. Connor Lou is the one. If you ever get a chance to look at Connor Lou's forearms, the dude's has the biggest forearms I've ever seen. But there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys that are skilled guys that always look a little bit more filled out, I guess, after summer.
What is it like with so many new parts? How important is the summer of getting to know them, getting to gel and find their tendencies and stuff like that?
I mean, it's very important. One we talk about a lot is like trying to find out who guys are off the field is more important because, like, for me, if I have a personal relationship with the people I play with, it makes it a lot easier. Because, like, at the end of the day, it's all a business. This football in general is just a business. But you kind of play harder for guys that you know more personally. And I mean, I feel like that's what we've done a good job as an O-line. Even as a team, I mean, I played golf like once or twice a week during the summer, and I mean, I've played with different guys. I mean, I've played with our kicker, I've played with our long snapper, I've played with some defensive guys, I've played with our quarterbacks. Like, just kind of seeing people outside of football and seeing how they are, it's a big part of it. And I mean, that's what summer allows you to do. Yeah, there's school and stuff, but for the most part, you get a lot more free time than normal. So it's kind of nice seeing everybody outside of football.
What was farm links like?
Oh, it's unreal. That, of course, is amazing. I played decent. Always can play better, but I mean, anytime you get a chance to go to a course like that, it's really a blessing. So it was awesome.
If there was a team golf tournament, who's winning?
Believe it or not, Alex McPherson is like Alex McPherson. First time I played with him, I think he shot 3 over on the day. But the last 2 times I went, Peyton Thorne shot 1 over. Last time we played, and the time before that, he ended up shooting like 3 over, but the dude had like 4 birdies on the front nine. He was crazy. And I mean, those two are they're legit, and they love playing against each other. And then I'm over there trying to make sure I can find my ball. So.
You talked about guys that have made a move. For you, when you were being recruited, you talked about how you lost a bunch of weight during the year last year. You back, and are you bigger than you were last year?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I'm going into the season last year, I was around 301, 302. Today I weighed 312, and I mean, that's what, through camp and stuff, I actually gained a pound from yesterday, and I didn't, I lost a couple pounds during practice and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'd say I've gotten up to about 10 more pounds, and I mean, I feel like for me, the biggest thing was transforming my body going into the year and stuff, and trying to cut down on my fat and kind of gain more muscle and stuff. I mean, that's just a credit to our strength staff and our nutritionists. Like, they do a great job. I've never had a group so, supportive in me as a player, and trying to individualize as much as they can to every player and having every player's needs met. So.
How much has that helped your game?
Oh, it's helped so much. I mean, even just the way you feel at practice, I can tell that I feel better, and I mean, I move better and stuff. I mean, doing stuff in the weight room to loosen up your hips and your ankle mobility and stuff, things that are really important for a lineman. That's, you can tell it on the field because you just move a little bit faster. It's a little bit more fluent and it's a little bit easier, I guess.
Working with Jake Thornton and playing for him, he's kind of a young guy for an offensive line coach. What is it like to work with him, and does it help that he's a little younger and you're a little older?
Well, so it's kind of funny. So he's younger than my brother. So I have twins that are 10 years older. So it's always, we kind of talk about that. He is, to be as young as he is, he is very knowledgeable. He's one of the most knowledgeable coaches. Coming in here, I've had 4 O-line coaches in the past. So I've had everything from guys who are just kind of, hey, go out and play. I want you to be the toughest guys. I don't really care how you get it done, just get it done, to you have to do everything right, and if the technique's not right, it doesn't matter what you do. But him, I mean, I feel like he kind of gives you the freedom, but he also has techniques. And the thing with him that's really impressive to me is he always has an answer for something. So if you see him practice, something happens and we lose a rep or the defense does something, he always has an answer for it. And we go into film and he's like, well, we're going to do this, this, and this, and that's how we're going to fix it. And that's really something cool to me. The way he teaches technique and stuff, for me, it's very easy to understand. It's hitting landmarks and like your steps and stuff. He's not really like, hey, do a 3-inch step here and a 6-inch step here. It's more of like how your body works. But at the end of the day, there's a part of a technique that you have to learn and stuff. And I think he does a great job with it. I think he's great game planning and stuff. And like just learning from him has been really, really cool. Because I mean, especially being an older guy, you know, it's a little bit different than an 18-year-old coming in from high school who. If you learn anything in college about offensive line, it's completely different in high school. Because in high school, you're just like, hey, I'm going to be bigger than the guy. I'm just going to go push him. But here, there's so many techniques because everyone's kind of the same talent level. So for like learning from him, you know, being an older guy, I can kind of relate to stuff I've learned in the past, and me and him can talk about it and stuff, and kind of relate it to my brain how I work. So it's been awesome.
How has he helped you make the SEC transition, and what maybe has been the most difficult part of that?
I mean, the hardest part really is, I would say, from my offense to this offense, more than just the like competition level. Because obviously the competition's there. It's a lot different than what I faced at Western, where the biggest thing I tell guys is at Western, it's, you know, the 1s and 2s are pretty good. I mean, you look at Western, they have, I think, all their they have Conference Player of the Year preseason from offense, defense, and special teams. It's a great place, but they don't have four deep of guys who can do that, and that's kind of the big difference. Like obviously, you got some freak shows here. You see Alabama, you see Georgia, you see Tennessee, Arkansas. Every one of them has freak shows, and that's the big difference. But everybody really, the difference is there's 100 guys here that are really, really good athletes, whereas Western was probably 40 or 50 is kind of how I would say. So I mean that's the big difference. And I mean, Coach Thornton, what he's helped me do, kind of getting into offensive terminology. So I came from an offense called the air raid, where we threw the ball 45, 50 times a game. So obviously here, we don't throw the ball that many times. We can if we need to, but it's a little bit different just in the technique of playing offensive line, where if you go ask any air raid guy, we do something called vertical set. And that's the only set we do. That is just how we learn it. That's how air raid is. But here I can do 4 or 5 different sets. So having a guy like that who can actually kind of teach me all the different sets and kind of add tools to my tool bag is kind of what I like to call it. So it's been really good.
Who's the freak show here? Is there one freak show?
There's more than one. Let me tell you.
Who are some guys that when you think about that come to mind for you?
Freak show. I think Jalen McLeod is one. I think he is a very twitchy guy for his size. Keldrick Folk's really twitchy. Justin Rogers is like that. Dylan Wade's one that comes to my mind. I mean, I could list 45 guys right now that is like athletes like I've never seen, you know, like whereas like our receivers, I like to joke, we have a guy at Western who can do all the stuff our receivers here do, but there's one at Western and there's 10 here, and that's kind of the big difference. And that's what, going back to how I was saying the depth of it, is every guy here was a 4 and 5 star at high school. Even the transfers you get in were the best at their school, and then coming into this league, and they're all kind of mixed together. And I mean, there's a lot of them. I can tell you that much.
Talking about coming into the SEC, I mean, is that a dream of yours, or I mean, how excited are you for the season to go up against LSU? And
I can't wait. I mean, the LSU game is the one that kind of pops in everybody's mind because everybody thinks about playing at Death Valley, especially if it's a night game. Like that's a game that, you know, you look at the top college atmospheres, it's always up there. But I mean, there's a lot of them. Like playing in College Station is going to be really special. Even playing at Arkansas, even though I've actually played at Arkansas before, but like even playing here, and I mean, the way I describe it to guys is I've played in big stadiums where I've had 90,000 people cheer against me, so it's going to be kind of nice having 90,000 people cheer for me. And that's a big difference, but I mean, it's special. I mean, I grew up as a South Carolina fan. I'm from South Carolina, so I knew all about the SEC. Like, even today, we had Tim Tebow speak to him, and I'm like, some of my teammates were like, yeah, I was 3 when he was playing, and I remember I was 8 years old. Like, I remember watching Tim Tebow do all this stuff live, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like, seeing guys like that, or even like Cam Newton, and being like, you know, I'm now on that stage of like, that's where I play. It's, you know, it's special. And I mean, it's cool. Like, even my brothers like to say when I came on my visit here and they saw the SEC patch, like, it just means more. And I mean, it really does. I know we have shirts that say the SEC means more, but it just does. I mean, that's the best college football in the country, and I think everybody would agree with that. So it's like coming into, you know, when you get to Western and you're like, well, I'm in the Conference USA, I don't really ever expect to play in the SEC to, you know, now I have an opportunity to do it. It's really special, and I'm looking forward to it a lot.